Humanity is on a perpetual cycle of reinvention and regeneration to adapt to continuous changes in economic landscapes, to react to our competitors and evolving market conditions, and to overcome the challenges which limit our growth. But what if we flipped the narrative? What if we placed humanity above it all? What if our time is spent on new thinking to envision innovative solutions and pioneering ideas? Imagine a world that adapts to us and is built for us to engage seamlessly across global borders and the borders of the physical, virtual, and augmented worlds. Imagine a world where we will have unrestrained creativity and which, powered by technology, will enable us to create unlimited solutions. We are at the cusp of a new age, where humanity is at the center and technology an enabler to empower our imagination, ideas, and dreams into a reality. Avasant is at the forefront of this innovation, empowering organizations to exceed their greatest potential. Our management consulting solutions, transformation advisory, research, and data enables our clients to hyper-accelerate their sourcing, digital, IT, and business transformation and growth priorities to realize unprecedented value. Now is the time to unleash your imagination. Embrace the opportunities of this new age. Unlock the possibilities to create disruptive solutions for a smarter and brighter future. Empower your limitless potential. Avasant, empowering beyond.
Hello and welcome to Avasant's Digital Forum, transforming application management to drive richer customer engagement. Thank you for joining us today. This session is being presented in partnership with Wipro, an innovator and industry leader. Avasant is thrilled to collaborate with Wipro to bring you an hour of engaging conversation and invaluable thought leadership insights. My name is Samantha Ratan, and I will be your MC today. Now, we encourage a very interactive digital forum experience, so feel free to connect with us via the chat feature on your dashboard. Send us your comments and questions for the panel. They will be answering your questions live throughout the session. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you your moderator, Renée Lahti, former SVP, CIO, CTrO, Hitachi Vantara, and Avasant Distinguished Fellow. Renée, it's over to you.
Samantha, thank you so much. So welcome, everybody. So I see we have a very abundant attendees online. And again, as Samantha mentioned, please raise your hand or throw something in the chat. We are here to really have an interactive, fun panel session today. Before I get started, I do want to also spend a little, set the table just a little bit with a couple kind of key research topics for the theme for today. And this is from our Avasant research group. And it really kind of puts a pin in the fact that we really do believe we are seeing a trend, and maybe it's thanks to COVID, not that any of us want to give a thank you to COVID ever, but words like seamless digital engagement. We just heard on our video, for those that joined a little early, humanity above all else, contextualization, making it real, making it relatable to customers or end users. That more than ever has been a theme. It's not a new idea, but I think it's received a higher priority and a focus across all industries. So one of the slides that you're seeing here, just as a little factoid to kind of anchor in some research, Avasant's research group really has a number of these profiles across industries with our customers. And as you can see, regardless of whether it's Lamborghini, Fila, Stanley Black & Decker, the healthcare industry, insurance, if you look, the theme is pretty obvious. Offer personalized customer experience, personalized communication to patients, integrated customer data, improving the customer experience. That becomes more than we've ever seen across all of these industries. And it's more than just in the application space. But this is, again, just as kind of an anchor to our very dynamic conversation we're going to have with our panelists in a minute. We go to the next slide, and this is the second of two, and no more slides really from me, is just to kind of validate, from an Avasant research perspective, the richer internal and external customer engagement theme. Now, what we are also seeing that there are internal customer and external customer lines blurring. So for an external customer to be successful, we also are seeing that internal customers need to be more successful. And that means things like real-time access to data, real-time access to the persona of an internal customer to know who they're talking to externally, or what was the most recent product they purchased. And we have internal customers, internal users needing access to that emotional data, those reactionary pieces of information about their customers in real time. So you're going to also see a little bit of this blurring of internal, external engagements. You also see, you're going to hear these stories about, while it is a contextual, seamless digital engagement with customer as it relates to applications, it's actually it's broader than that. Even if you have a multi-sourcing or multi-provider partner or multi-tower outsourcing engagement, it all gets tied up with a ribbon that really still goes back to that really customer engagement, display, virtual presentation layer that's relatable to the person on the other end of the conversation, which is your customer. And in these multi-tower and more complex agreements that you typically have, or partnerships, it still comes back to that. Now you're going to hear terms like SIAM, service integration and management, or multi-sourcing service integration, MSI. All of those really come back to that same theme of richer customer experience or engagement. And this is just another component of our Avasant research that says, look, in order to realize the full value of outsourced services, in order to achieve business outcomes and strategic objectives for our customers, richer experiences with who they engage with is really important. And typically there's some dimensions to that. And if you read the dimensions, strategy and consulting, integration, implementation and managed services, and operational agreements, it still comes back to that same theme that you're going to hear from our panelists in just a minute. It's about operational level agreements, it's experience, XLAs, experience level agreements. It's all about, how does it feel to the person on the other end of that conversation? Is it relatable? Is it Amazon-like? Is it easy to understand? Is it easy to engage? And is it omni-channel? So with that, those are my last slide, other than to introduce our amazing panelists and get into the really fun part of this conversation. So here are our panel speakers today. I'd like to start with Libby, who is also my co-host for the day from Avasant. Libby, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I am, like Renee, I am a distinguished fellow at Avasant. I've been consulting for the last several years. My entire career has been in the retail and consumer product space. Prior to starting consulting, I was on the other side of the table as a CIO for several retail and consumer products companies. The last engagement that my full-time engagement was with Chanel. I was there for 14 years as their US CIO and their global program director for corporate systems.
Thank you, Libby, and welcome. Mahesh, you're next.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Mahesh Tyagi. I am a vice president at Activision Blizzard. And those who don't know Activision Blizzard, we are #1 game publisher in the world. Some of our blockbuster franchises you might have heard about: Call of Duty, Candy Crush. You can look at my background here, Zoom background, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch. There's so many great games that we publish to make the life fun. I have been in the industry for 25 plus years. Last 20 plus years, I have been at Activision. I started as a developer and I have grown up as a VP now. I lead the shared services tech stack, mostly implementing, managing, and supporting all of our major enterprise applications: ERP, EPM, HCM, data and analytics. I was the first one to implement or set up the application management services for Activision back a decade ago, and have successfully evolved it since then to now not supporting only applications, but also a lot of our infrastructure stuff as well. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mahesh, thank you so much, and can't wait to hear more about Candy Crush and the rest of the amazing games that you are responsible for, and really how applications really bring it to life, which I would say every single day when I watch the television, I see Candy Crush coming to life in front of my very eyes. So with that, let me hand it over to the final introduction. DG, if you want to take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Renee. Good morning, everyone. My name is Debashish Ghosh. I go by DG. I lead the go-to-market for digital engineering and application services, a business for Wipro's tech and gaming sector in Americas. I'm based out of the Mountain View office in California. I've been with Wipro for around 26 years and in the IT industry for around 27 years. And I've played various leadership roles across delivery, transition, practice sales. And over these years, I've been very fortunate to have worked with large customers, Fortune 500 customers in the retail, consumer goods, logistics, and now tech and gaming sector for the last few years. I'm very passionate about customer success, and it's my pleasure to be here today as part of this panel. I look forward to a very engaging and wonderful session. Over to you, Renee.
Thank you, DG. Thank you so much. Well, hey, while we have you on screen, I'm going to maybe just pitch the first question to kind of warmed up to you. And it's really just maybe a little more from your perspective, from Wipro perspective. Can you maybe share how you've seen clients, obviously Mahesh being one of them, really have the need for more cohesive and contextual experience, kind of the theme of the session today, but it's end users, it's business units, and where have you seen those what have you seen at those reasons for those changes? Why I say it's COVID, I kind of have a hypothesis there, but from your perspective, what are you seeing as the reason that clients are really recognizing this as top priority?
Yeah. So thanks, Renee, for that question. So look, everyone wants a seamless experience, right? Today, whether it is when they interact with the brand across all the touch points. The simplest way to understand that is through our experience in our daily lives today. When we interact with a brand, we want a very seamless experience, whether we buy a product online from a retailer, or go to the store to buy the product. And I'm taking a very simple example of how retail, because we are very familiar with retail, right? We want to pick up, buy online, pick up in store, or return in store, and we want the same experience. We want the product information, the same across online or the partner channels. Right. We want the same sales policy, after sales policy across all the channels. So essentially what it means is that all the interacting systems, needs to be integrated well to be able to provide the same experience across all the channels. In other words, ensuring a positive customer experience is the responsibility of all the functions, whether it is marketing, whether it is sales, whether it is services, finance, so on and so forth. But this is easier said than done, Renee, and the audience here, especially for large enterprises with disparate systems and geographically distributed knowledge workers, and of course in a SIAM environment, it becomes even more complex. So these enterprises are particularly hampered by the siloed structure with which the applications are purchased and built over time. Preventing information from flowing freely and optimally across the various platforms. So, customer-focused enterprises are constantly embracing digital channels and new innovations in order to stay relevant. And to be effective and to effectively do that, they will need to have a partner that can continue to transform them with minimal disruption while keeping the lights on. And that's what we have done, that we have been doing for Activision. Now, coming to the context of AMS, Now we do a lot AMS plus at Activision. We do the the application, we do the infrastructure support. So I'm calling it AMS plus. There are 4 key areas that you want to look at. One is we need to address from a good customer experience perspective. One is that improve the operational metrics, such as the mean time to resolution, which we call MTTR, the first call resolution, which is FCR, and the hops, which directly impact the end user. We want to improve the transactional experience by bringing in the AI ops and improve proactive and performance monitoring. You want to improve rendering of contextual how-to by chat operations and enable this end-to-end, right? And we also want to improve on the process breakages, such as the deploying tools like Celonis for process mining, etc. And also by bringing in the process command center. Whenever there is a an issue in a particular layer, it tells us exactly what process is broken, and therefore notifying the end users so that we can keep them aware and also work on rectifying it quickly. So essentially, a good customer experience helps build long-term relationship, and that is what we intend to achieve through our transformation-led AMS approach for Activision. Mahesh, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, so Renée, I'm going to interject a minute, maybe just some of what I heard. So it sounds like that whole concept of hybrid work style, work from home, work from the office, which we're all, I know, starting to sort out, actually also applies to the customer, the end user, hybrid experience. I want to physically walk to a store, or I don't want to be physical. I want to be virtual on the screen, but the experience needs to be the same. So it sounds like hybrid is, again, a theme that's showing up beyond just where I go to work every day. And the other one is, ever more so than ever, is masking that complexity. All those things you just described is not what an end user or a paying customer or internal customer would see. So with that, Mahesh, maybe you can kind of give us that validation from your perspective. Does what you just heard from DG really resonate with the work that you guys are doing together within Activision?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. So I think for us, the new generation of workforce that continues to join our gaming industry, and they are the passionate gamers, and they are the one who want to come to work for us and build these games that gets played across the world by hundreds of millions of people. They expect a digital experience from the corporate business applications that they are used to outside of their work life. They don't want to go to anywhere to even buy something. They want to do everything online. They want to order food online. They want to book their travel on a phone, right? That's the experience they get outside of the work. They come to work, or they were coming to work, and they're like, yeah, you have to log into these 5 different applications, and these screens look like 1990s. So for us, that was the key. We had to look at that, and to attract and retain the talent, which is one of the key priorities for us, we had to refocus on providing an experience that our employees, candidates, and gamers will like, and bring that awesome moment in their life. So we started this journey back when, 5-7 years ago. It started with the customers or the gamers first, right? Customer comes always first. So gamers, we started engaging them through omni-channels to provide them support wherever they were, rather than asking them whenever they have a game-related issue to come to a site. We reached out to different forums, whether it's Reddit or Facebook or wherever the gamers were. And from there, we collected the information. And if people were experiencing issues, we reached back to them by using our newly implemented Salesforce technologies. Then from there, we moved on to looking at, okay, now gamers are taken care of, and we are delivering great games. But the people who are delivering these great games are our internal employees and also the candidates that we are trying to hire. So we looked at every touch point that these internal customers or candidates were having with our applications, whether it's about onboarding, performance management, benefit selections, people submitting their time off, expense claims, and all the tools that we were providing from IT side to our internal customers. And then we looked at improving that experience working with our AMS partners. Again, just making it more digital. So they don't have to come to work, log into a system and request a time off. It just, again, so 1990s. If somebody is sitting in a bar with their partner or, wherever they are, and they decide to take a day off or 2 days off, right then and there, somebody can log into their application, submit the time off request, again, without going anywhere. The time in this case, that's where our focus was. Now, you take care of your gamers, you take care of your candidates that you're hiring, your employees, you provide them awesome experience. That just impacts our overall company strategy, as well as the application support was improved significantly by, again, utilizing our AMS partner, that's Wipro. And they have played a significant role in us achieving some of those our SLAs that we set for back, 4 or 5 years ago.
So Mahesh, I have to ask, it's just you and me here. Just forget everyone else who's listening. So tell us a story about what was one of your biggest challenges in doing that. You kind of said, we got to go where the gamers are. We've got to go where our customers are, as opposed to making them fill out a survey and then getting the information that way. You go to them. Going to them, Reddit or what have you, what was one of your biggest challenges to understand and then implement something to bring in those gamers as employees, potential employees, as well as potential customers? Just you and me talking here. You don't.
Yeah. But the biggest challenge was, at that time when we were looking at this stuff, technology wasn't that mature, and gamers are very passionate about what they want from the games. And if they are happy, they will be singing your song across all the different channels. But if they are unhappy, then you will hear a lot of complaints, and we want our gamers to be happy. So identifying where they were and listening to them through different channels was one of the key challenges we faced, and we found some good technologies to implement. And then training our internal support staff to provide them the tools and capabilities to respond quickly without increasing our cost of support. Because you live in a world where, IT is always seen as a cost center in majority of the cases. And people will tell you, yeah, improve the experience, do the best, do year over year, do better, but stay flat on your budget. That's kind of one of the biggest challenges we faced.
Okay, got it. Yes, my CFO back when I did this used to tell me I talked in $1 million bills, nothing smaller. That was the unit of measure I had for any project I would bring to him or her. So thank you for that. So Libby, let's maybe bring you back to the same. Hey, Libby.
Hey, how you doing?
You obviously, as an Avasant fellow, engage with a lot of clients and customers. And from your perspective, do you also see that we want more from our applications? We want you to come to see us. You need to meet us where we are. And in that hybrid kind of, I want to go shopping some days online and some days I want to go into a store mindset. What are you seeing?
It's absolutely true. And so what you had mentioned before was multi-sourcing integration, right? And for a retailer, first of all, retailers right now, they're slow to act sometimes. So although we talk about omni-channel and this and that, when you go shopping, and we all go shopping, they're not all quite there yet. But in addition to that, I think the important thing is what's coming in the future, what's now, what's really, so data, when you're looking at retail and consumer, in the retail and consumer products world, data is the holy grail of really high quality customer insights. And new tools right now are being designed to support both zero and first party customer data capture capabilities. The major advantage of first party data capture is, of course, when in the customer's journey, when they go from search to conversion. If you think of Amazon and Target and Walmart, right? Those kind of things. Some companies like Nordstrom's, Amazon, Macy's, Target are also experimenting with first-party data integration. innovation, where they develop retail media networks that exploit the power of the aggregator that's long fueled Amazon and Google. Zero-party data is the first step closer to the consumer, because this is data that the consumer freely shares with you through loyalty programs, contests, promotions, surveys, any incentive where that requires the consumer engagement. Google, in fact, has a new initiative that's commercializing their search optimization. They are marketing it as a service to retail and brand customers. It's called Shopper Search and can be embedded in the brand-owned website as well as mobile apps. With Shopper Search, shoppers can get a strong result, even if those long, complicated searches that we all try to put in, they can get really strong results. And in addition, it doesn't only improve the customer experience, but it also offers the host brand very rich first-party data. The hurdle is assessing zero-party data, because understanding the customer, and I think you can all agree, requires a lot of creativity. And what's happening today is some tech companies, some ad tech platforms are trying to analyze, capture, and actually analyze this data. Like, for example, if a customer asks, I want a car, I want it in this price range, I want this feature and function, okay? The information then can be monetized to the car brands, okay, and come back with the results without the customer having to navigate through anything, okay? That's the power of zero-party data. So the fun comes when they start to mix them up. They're trying to mix them up. And it's really interesting, because once zero-party data is combined with first-party data, now the retailer or the consumer products person has the opportunity to finally get it right. And while it's an enormous challenge, this is not easy. And I think DG said it earlier, there's nothing easy about any of this, is that it could trigger, though, a renewed emphasis on really knowing your customer and not just the data that the infusion of data that really represents them.
Got it. Well, as a fellow data scientist, Libby, I can relate to the lifeblood of a lot of this conversation around making it relatable, making it contextualized, and making it real-time Amazon-like. All the lifeblood of all of that is bringing all that data, aggregating that data in the right way, framing it up, and figure out what's valuable and invaluable and not so valuable, and putting some of that the data science into practice. So absolutely not easy. But I think we're hearing, again, a message of we mask all that complexity. So at the end of the day, we go to where the customer is and serve it up in the way they want to consume it. And that is via omni-channel. So depending on how we all like to take our information is how we're going to get it. So that's great. So thank you, Libby, for that. So Mahesh, I want to come back to you a little bit more on Wipro. And it sounds like Activision Wipro have been working on this journey for a while. I think I saw a journey map that maybe we'll bring back up here in a second, really collaboratively, of how you figure out who does what to whom, and what is that journey? What are the priorities? With this map up, maybe just, can you highlight a couple key pivotal points, milestones in your ongoing partnership around really bringing forward that customer experience, high priority, front and center, from when you started it in the 2019 era, and where you are and hopefully going to go to in the future through 2024?
Sure. So to improve our customer experience and SLAs, which is actually the key, the foundation have to be strong in order for us to serve our customers. We evaluated several AMS partners, and we chose actually Wipro back in 2019 because of their focus on providing awesome user experience in a very secure way. Security is key to our success. And also having automation as part of their AMS practice at that time, which not many other AMS partners had that. With the automation and the focus on user experience, we felt they have the right depth and the breadth to be our partner to support our business, and not just support it, also move the needle on the right side to provide the value that we were looking for. And it's 2019, they started working with us. Within a short 4 months of period, they took over pretty much all of our primary business application support from the other vendor. And at the same time, I was going through a significant ERP upgrade and migration of our data center. They started helping on that. So those two key areas, we saw immediate success. And within a year, we saw actually our CSAT score improve significantly with 60% reduction in our ticket backlog and 35% faster time to the solution. Both of those impacted our internal customers big time. Now, at that time, my internal team now got a little bit more time to focus on our strategic priorities by spending time with our business to look at, okay, what are our pain points? How do we modernize our applications and bring that digital experience again that our internal customers expect? So timing certainly was on our side. This happened just before COVID hit in March of 2020. By that time, our partnership was fully mature. Our support processes were fully mature. And the benefit of that is I got almost zero impact on my business because of where we were in our AMS practice, including the projects that were in progress. The biggest impact I had was a 1 week delay in one go live of a project. Other than that, everything went smooth because I had a solid partner to keep the lights on, to support the business and continue to improve our practices. Now, since then, Wipro have taken care of, all of our infrastructure support for ERP, EPM, and many other niche business applications. It's very hard to find support for those niche business applications like Wipro, which is something we use for our revenue recognition. They have also become one of my partners to implement the new technologies, whether it's MuleSoft. He moved away from TIBCO, moved to MuleSoft 100%. He implemented Concur across the board. Again, Concur was a strategic priority to improve that internal customer experience because we had different tools that people were not liking so much. And we just implemented our Oracle platform as a service first application using Oracle PaaS, which is again, Wipro implemented for us. So now they have become my go-to partner for many of our strategic needs, whether it's application modernization or automation. And I just want to continue to build on top of that collaborative partnership that we have in place and provide the value to our business that's hard to come by.
Well, Mahesh, I'm looking at this roadmap and journey, and I've seen a whole bunch of these over the last few years as I've done a few of these panels. And typically there's this little point along that journey where it just drops to the zero and then goes back up. And that's called COVID, where everything you were doing, a company typically was doing in the world of automation and technology, just comes to a screeching halt while you just scramble to deal with something that no one had ever anticipated ever having to deal with. And you don't have that little drop in your engineering and operation maturity. It just keeps going. So DG, I'm going to kind of flip to you now. Like, how did that happen? Like, explain your partnership and how was it you were able to continue to keep going? There is no COVID blip, if you will, in this roadmap. And then maybe again, expand on where is this going? Because obviously it's up and to the right. How from the beginning to where you are now, through COVID and beyond, what's the partnership going to be like with Activision?
Yeah, so let me start on a lighter note. There's an old saying about transition. Life is pleasant, death is peaceful. It's the transition that's a problem. While that's about life and death, IT transition isn't that big of a problem. If the ambitions are bold and you have the right partner in your journey. So in 2019, when Activision embarked on a journey to transition out from their existing partner to a long-term strategic partner, to manage their IT portfolio, they had three things in mind, and you heard Mahesh about directly from Mahesh, right? Activision wanted a tier one provider with a strong proven credentials in managing and delivering complex application and infrastructure portfolio in a secured environment. A partner that was obsessed with driving customer success through continuous improvement in QoS, quality of service, and a partner that could flex up and down to perform significant transformational activities without causing a dent in wallet, right? So those were the three key things that Activision was looking for, forward for the strategic partner, right? Now, over the last 4 years, right? Again, while Wipro is rated as a leader in the apps and infrastructure managed services by leading analysts like yourself, you heard from Mahesh how Wipro evolved from the the AMS++ partner to a more mature transformation partner since successfully transitioning into this role now for the last 3 to 4 years, right? The first thing that we did after transition was to baseline the metrics and the KPIs, and then the maturity model started, right? The team on the ground continues to provide best-in-class AMS services using lean, predictive, preemptive maintenance. We have a stable AMS run through our, the ticket reduction and faster resolution, enabling more bandwidth for the change activities, right? We improved the response on the resolution SLA from, 93% to 99%. We reduced the monthly ticket volume from 75%, and our open ticket counts have also reduced now. This was enabled by the effective problem management, automation, elimination, your shift left, cross-training of teams, and designating champions to drive essentially the reduction in tickets. Consequently, the AMS team now supports more applications, as you heard from Mahesh, right? Including some of the newer niche areas from a wider tech stack, and performs more change activities as well. Now,
Hey, before you move forward to the future and current, present to the future, I have to ask, I'm looking at this journey map, and there had to have been an oh crap moment when COVID hit and everyone had to think differently. We all have been in that boat. We are all in that boat together, right? It was one giant boat with a hole on one end of it, and we're all paddling or bailing out as fast as we can. How did you and Mahesh, what was that partnership like during everyone stay at home, everyone locked down, everyone asked to work remote, all of those things you never thought you'd see in your lifetime? Say a little bit more about that, and what was challenging, and what was your biggest challenge as a partner? And Mahesh can kind of weigh in on this as well. And how'd you guys get through it? Because it's a lesson learned for future state, for sure, on how to handle other crisis management, which IT deals with all the time.
Yeah, so as Mahesh mentioned, see, we got lucky there, right? So Renée, before the start of the COVID, we had already transitioned the entire portfolio, and we were already running the model in a 24/7 remote, right? Whether it is 8x5 manned, with the rest of it on-call support. We already had teams working from their homes during on-call support, right? So we already had enabled the team end to end. So there was not really a challenge, and that was the lucky part of it before COVID hit us, right? So from that perspective, we were digitally enabled already to provide that support remotely, Renée, just to keep it very simple.
I think if I were to add, to me, it's the people. It's the people that Wipro had assigned to our team, and them becoming essentially just part of our one team and having the same passion that we have towards our business is what was the reason, I think, in my mind, was the reason of success. Everybody was struggling across the board, whether it's me, my team, or business. Business was, of course, not complaining that much because people understood this is different. This is something that came after 100 years, and everybody is trying to figure out where do we go from here. But still, the passion of, okay, yeah, I am taking care of my life, I am taking care of my family, but I am also taking care of my customer. And that to me was the reason that we did not have that here. And I share that passion with this team, and that's where I think our partnership is strong, because we have the we share the same values and same passion towards serving our customers to the best of our abilities.
Great. Thank you, Mahesh. So I didn't want to interrupt your awesome story, DG, but I just had to know, double click in that, because that's an amazing story. And you're right. It sounds like luck played a piece of it, but also a true partnership of people and people, regardless of the technology and the process stuff. It's the good heart of a good, strong partner relationship got you through those tough times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I wanted you to hear that directly from Mahesh, what he felt as a customer. And thank you, Mahesh, for, talking about Wipro as an extended team of Activision in this case. And we were in this together. So thank you so much. So, again, Renée, just to continue on the journey, right? We built a cross-functional and a techno-functional team, if you will, to basically look at just not one application, but every team was expanding its skill to manage multiple applications, right? So we went from a journey from a T to a pie shape to a, if you will, a cone-shaped skill team. This also is called swarming in today's world, right? Where a single person owns a ticket, even though it, spans across multiple functional and technical areas. So that's what the team is enabled right now to do, to look at multiple technical areas, multiple functional areas. And that's how we support each other, as we move in this transformation journey with Activision. We have put in a new model called a catalyst model, where we deliver niche expertise and skills that are needed part-time. We use our, with what we call a top gear model, wherein we bring in top talent on a need basis to help deliver complex work efficiently. Again, as part of the transformation-led AMS, we are now working with Activision on their cloud journey adoption, be it with TIBCO to MuleSoft migration, as you heard from Mahesh, or customer app migration to Oracle PaaS, and we are also in discussion for additional cloud adoption migrations. So that's journey, and we look forward to much more transformational roadmap ahead as we in this journey ahead, Renée.
Okay, so I'm going to follow, but I'm going to kind of maybe double click on something that you said, and then invite Mahesh and Libby if you've seen this as well. So you talked about the techno-functional skilled person. So if you think about it, the old traditional models are, service desk and ITIL, and it's very linear, and it's, it worked very differently than what we see today. And you also talk about swarming a ticket. Talk about how that works without it being, it's not chaotic. It actually is a very sound methodology to help get things fixed quicker, real time. And it also helps your IT organization really understand the business problem they're trying to solve, as opposed to just it's a ticket to fix. And I'm going to kind of ask you to start explaining that, DG, but maybe Mahesh, you can give a story, and then Libby, maybe think about other scenarios where you've seen this work really well, and the old traditional, ITIL 3.0 may or may not necessarily always be the right approach. So go ahead, DG.
And as I said, it's really about owning the ticket, right? To be able to get what the end user needs, and to reduce the number of hops. Because as I said, right, mean time to reduction, first call resolution, reducing the number of hops is essentially how you drive end user satisfaction, customer satisfaction in an AMS++ world. So that's what, you have your teams trained on multiple areas, right? Today, we are looking at the business aspect of the application to be able to solve whenever there is a business problem, right? So the teams are trained, whether it's a supply chain issue, whether it's a finance issue, to be able to, look beyond just if I'm just a finance consultant, look at beyond finance to learn about supply chain, to be able to, end-to-end solve that problem. So that's what I was essentially trying to refer through the swarming discussion, Renée, if that helps.
Yep, and maybe Mahesh, say some more about your team. When you talk about techno-functional team members, that's also in and of itself a journey, or it's a revolution to what used to be your traditional stereotypical IT personnel.
Yeah, and I think that's again the key of finding those people. You're calling them techno-functional, but these are also the people who jumped in quickly and understood our business. In order to provide that best customer experience, if customer or user doesn't have a lot of time, they put in 2 lines in the ticket. If you know the business, then you know exactly what they are talking about. You understand how the business processes work and how does the technology enable those business processes. So the people that we found through Wipro who were working in our engagement had all these 3 skills. And when a ticket comes in, they can quickly understand, okay, this is what business is talking about. Even sitting in a different side of the world, they can quickly jump on it, understand that because they understand the process and technology, the resolution becomes much easier versus if now somebody creates a ticket, I don't understand the business, I ask 5 questions, so you have already frustrated the business user, and then you solve it after 2 weeks, then of course your CSAT score is going to be just too low in those cases. So that's the difference in having people with business expertise, well, business learning expertise and techno-functional knowledge. I think that's what DG is referring to.
Okay. And Libby, so again, your expertise as an Avasant fellow across industries, again, exposure to a lot of our rest of our client base, swarming and functional techno or techno-functional themed capabilities. Are you seeing a shift in that as well?
I am seeing a shift in that. And in addition, what it does rather than the old methodology is it allows you to really find, and I think both Mahesh and DG will agree, the root cause, which is the most important thing. Sometimes, there's a problem reported to the service desk. Okay, they find this problem, which is 5 levels up the channel, but never, ever find the root cause of the problem. And the same problem keeps happening over and over again. This allows it to find the root cause and solve it once and for all.
Well, what's interesting is RCAs used to be this formal after post-mortem, the horrific thing happened, the data center server went down, whatever it was. And then you had this RCA analysis process. This is real-time RCAing as well. Think about it.
Exactly. And it gets it done.
Yeah, and to add to that, in my case, it's happening without even me asking, right? That's what I expect from an AMS partner. Otherwise, there's a problem that happens and I have to put my team to do the RCA, find out after 2 months. By that time, ship has sailed. We have moved on to something different. That's not even a priority at this point now. So I think having a partner that understands, okay, RCA is important because it benefits both us and them, then let's do it on immediately, find out that root cause and fix it once and for all. So next time we don't see that issue.
That's great. And I would have to anticipate the satisfaction of the staff, regardless of the badge they're wearing, a Wipro badge, and Activision badge, and Avasant badge. There's probably a more job satisfaction with kind of understanding context themselves. Like I understand now when I come to work every day, I'm just not working through 22 tickets until they get closed. But I understand this ecosystem of highly integrated applications and the business value it brings. I don't know. I'm just jumping to a conclusion there. Would you agree, Mahesh?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons how I have been able to keep a lot of my people within the team for long. And I have seen a lot of people in Wipro staying for longer period, because ultimately it's the job satisfaction, and the job satisfaction, even myself coming from a developer background, is when I understand the full context and I'm able to solve the business problem in a timely fashion. And that gives me, even now, after so many years, the satisfaction that I would like to have versus, frankly, building PowerPoints. That just doesn't give me any satisfaction.
Excellent. So we have a question. I apologize. I have so many little windows up on my screen. I haven't been paying attention. So I'm going to post this question. Mahesh and DG, you collectively can answer it however you feel most comfortable answering. But the question comes from the audience. Can you discuss the commercial relationship between the two companies, Wipro and Activision? Is it a managed services agreement fixed price? Is it transaction based? Does it have a gain share based on metrics and results? Just say more. However you want to answer that.
Well, I will try to be as transparent as I can be, given, it's a commercial relationship.
It's just you and me. There's no one else listening.
We do have a fixed price contract based on, of course, the scope defined and expected number of tickets. I can tell you most of the time, the number of tickets go above the contractual numbers, and Wipro works very well with me on those things. In addition, they do provide the development capacity, which is why that was another reason why I went with Wipro, because it wasn't just simply AMS, as DG said. It was AMS plus, and it wasn't killing my wallet. So any new thing that comes up, we always discuss, besides AMS, the fact that I can reach out to a partner when I quickly need resources, or I should say talented resources, and they make it available, then we have a statement of works for that purpose. I think that's all I can share comfortably without going beyond legal boundaries.
That is fair. Anything you want to add, DG?
No, I just want to attest what Mahesh said beautifully, is that we'll work less through our contract and more through our relationship. So if you have a specific way that you want us to work through, or an arrangement that you want to work through, we are flexible to work through that arrangement in a fixed price, TNM, or fixed capacity. The model is not that. We are very flexible, right? And we work through our relationship, right? We go beyond our contract to work more on the relationship side to do whatever is best for the customer.
Okay, thank you. Well, so I'm going to ask, I got one last question, and then we'll do a key takeaways. And this question is kind of round robin. This is where you all can just be, look in your crystal ball and be as radical a thinker as you want. But the question is, from where we are today, obviously, hopefully COVID's in the rearview mirror. What do we think really is the AMS model of the future? What's going to continue to change? What'll stay the same? Put your design thinker brains on and say, what else could possibly show up here to really challenge this AMS model of what's already been challenged, swarming, and some of the things we talked about today, just how you approach it. But what do you think, fast forward a couple of years from now, what else is going to show up here? And anybody wants to go first is more than willing to just go for it.
Yeah, I can take a stab at it, Renee. All right. Can I go ahead? Okay. All right. So see, look, AMS models will continue to evolve simply because of the fact that the pool of the skilled resources is shrinking, and the talent that remains is being spread thinner. As new technologies create demand for new expertise, right? So customers are essentially looking for ways to get to, zero ops, ticketless operations, autonomous run, so on and so forth. Are we there yet? Not really. Will it take time? Possibly. Cloud-centric designs and SaaSification is helping expedite the journey. Adoption of observability and digital operations has been getting better. Autonomous focus has increased in the recent times. So to make, the AMS run successful, there are certain fundamental things that have to change. The medium and large enterprises still have a very, I would say a very high number of applications, right? Someone said, I was reading an article the other day where it said 50% of these, medium and large enterprises still have more than 500 plus applications, right? Which means there's a considerable tech debt with hundreds and thousands of applications. The application landscape itself continues to be volatile due to the, the very high amount of transformation. A big, portion of the enterprises with significant legacy transformation requires them to culturally, change culturally to build the true engineering practices for AMS run to be really autonomous, right? I remember, Dr. Edward Bono had suggested we should look at having simplicity teams reviewing the application portfolio continuously so that, we don't put an onus on the teams and decelerate our innovation, right? More assets will always lead to more maintenance and work units. That's something that we have to keep in mind. Performance improvements have significantly reduced P1 and P2s when we benchmark today, right? Even in our environment, it is P1 and P2, together it is around less than 5%, right? Which is pretty good. But the, ticket-based and non-ticket-based work units have not decreased overall. And I'm not talking about Activision. I'm talking about, for the breadth and depth of customers that we see across our portfolios beyond Activision, right? So, operational debt continue to remain high, even with optimization, automation, cloud transformation, DevOps, et cetera, right? So, enterprises are moving towards new ways of working with focus on efficiencies, with a journey towards product platform, DevOps model for agility and velocity, right? Maturity of the model journey, they're in different stages of, enterprises are in different stages. And this will take time for realization, simply put it that way. So essentially IT automation has gained momentum that we have seen in the recent past. However, there is still significant complexity with application functionality and end user expectations, right? This requires adequate changes to native automation by SaaS, not just service partners trying task process automation. More advancement is required on the knowledge automation side of it as well. So, products are still, if you look at the products, they're still trying to figure out how to infuse real AI into the operations. While AI ops terminology has caught up and aspects such as data ops, cloud ops are happening now. When products get to a stage of automate the RCA, as Libby was talking about, and self-remediate part, then we are expected to see more of, AMS run getting better. So when you have the data from discovery, monitoring, event ingestion, patching, ITSM, knowledge management coupled with AI ops automation, picture will look much more complete, Renée. So that's my opinion.
I was going to say that totally makes sense. And actually, I'm going to let that be potentially the lightning round answer, because I think you kind of wrap that into some of the takeaways for the audience today. So DG, that was awesome. I am going to go ahead and pitch over to Mahesh and then to Libby. I'm going to just quickly give you mine because I know we're coming close to the time, but my key takeaways, if I were to say in a soundbite or two, hybrid is more than where you work discussion. It's about where the customers are, and you got to go to where those customers are, virtually and physically. Those would be my takeaways. Mahesh, maybe you next, and then Libby, you want to close it out. Takeaways from what you learned today. It was a great dialogue panel.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, it's just looking at the future, building a team that can understand the business, that has the techno-functional knowledge, and is focused on always, automating more and more stuff and providing the best customer experience is going to be the key for future success for an IT organization as well as their partners that they work with.
Yeah, Mahesh, and you guys have a great story to tell, you and Wipro. Libby, your takeaway.
I'm already a fan of Wipro because I was on the radar view for the hybrid cloud. So, and they scored so well. So, but I think also the onus is on the business. The business also has to be very disciplined, more disciplined than they are. They have to really work hard toward picking the right partner. They have to consider that, what's their governance model? What's the methodology for change management? They really have to pay attention to picking the right partner. And I think at the end of the day, they have to choose the right partner that will listen to them, that will really care about their business and help them build their roadmap for the future. I think that's the most important. The business needs to take ownership of picking their partner.
And I would just also add, Libby, that Another recipe for success is treating that partner as a true extension of your team. Just
100%.
gives you the benefit
100%.
that you
Yep.
look for.
Yep. 100%. It has to be cohesive. You can't know who works for who.
Well, I think on that note, with just 30 seconds left, this was a conversation filled with the incredible, valuable takeaways by all panelists. So again, thank you all on behalf of Avasant, and again, Wipro, thank you for your sponsorship and partnership to host this panel today. I think I'll end with just a final note, and I kind of always say it this way, and it's very relevant to what we just talked about. Method and technology. So the how you do something is best successful when it's followed by intention. So why are we doing it? And I think today is a great example of why we do things is based on meeting up with our customer wherever they are, in the virtual or physical world, and then recognizing that our staff and our partnerships need to be a techno-functional group to help best solve those problems in near real time to make the company as much successful as possible. So on behalf of Avasant, thank you, Libby. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, DG. And we are over by 20 seconds. Apologies for that. Have a great day.
We did pretty good though.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, I'd like to thank our panel, our moderator, and of course, our participants. We appreciate you making the time to join us here today. A very special thank you to Wipro for partnering with us and Activision Blizzard for featuring such invaluable insights. It's been an incredible thought leadership session, and we hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did. A replay of this session will be up soon on our event page. Have yourselves a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samantha. Thanks, Roseanne. Bye-bye.
Thank you.